What's up? Howdy. How you doing? It's me, Wall Street, the NBA pundit that you did not think you needed, but you absolutely do. And today, I want to talk about the Milwaukee Bucks and the pickle that they have found themselves in the early part of this NBA season. So the Milwaukee Bucks are currently 13th in the Eastern Conference. That may have changed by the time this is posted, but they're not doing good right now. They're currently 1-4. They're about to play the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are 6-0. So I would not be surprised if they turn out to be 1-5. So the point here is that when teams are bad, most of the time it's for a good reason, and they will be rewarded with a high draft pick for their struggles. Unfortunately, for better teams in the league that consider themselves contenders and find themselves frequently in the upper echelon of the playoff teams in the NBA, a lot of times they will leverage their draft capital to other teams because they anticipate their draft picks to be in the late stages of the first round as opposed to the early stages of the lottery, which are traditionally picks 1 through 14. Obviously, if the NBA expands and there's more teams that miss the playoffs, the lottery will expand. But currently, as it stands, is lottery picks are picks number 1 through 14 because those are the picks that are awarded via the NBA lottery system. So, with the Bucks being 13th in the Eastern Conference, I think that puts them in I think they're like the 4th or 5th worst team in the league right now, right? And that's probably going to change. They're probably going to make the playoffs. They have Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo and Chris Middleton. They have the ability to be a good team. They're just not performing right now, and I'm not sure what's going to happen throughout the season, but that's how it is. But in the situation that they do miss the playoffs, their pick is not going to go to them. I think even if they do make the playoffs, it is not going to them. So currently as it stands is Milwaukee's 2025 first-round pick will go to the New Orleans Pelicans, protected for selections 5 through 30. And if it is selections 1 through 4, meaning if they land in the lottery spot 1 through 4, it will go to the Brooklyn Nets. So, and further after that, it conveys differently, and yada. I personally, I don't even know exactly what all of this, stuff means at the end of the day, but I understand protected, unprotected, all that jazz. So basically, regardless of where they finish, it's going to go to somebody else. 5 through 30 goes to the Pelicans. 1 through 4, it goes to Brooklyn. So the Nets are probably on the edge of their seats right now, like hoping that the Bucks trade Dame, Giannis goes down, whatever, so that they can basically get the pick and they have a better chance to get Cooper Flag. So, and I don't think it's a pick swap. I'm pretty sure it's not a pick swap. It's literally just a transfer. So Brooklyn could probably retain their pick while also having a top pick in the lottery if the Bucks fail to make the playoffs and they jump up into the top 4 range. So it's going to be very interesting to see what the Bucks do if they continue to struggle throughout the early parts of the season. I mean, it's a no-brainer to me that they're probably going to get rid of Doc Rivers if they wind up being like 2-10 or 3-10, by the time we hit, December, right? It's Doc Rivers is going to be out. Doc Rivers is going to be gone. And I think next it's Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard's probably going to get traded because he just has not been performing well. And, he had Scottie Pippen Jr. shut him down the other day, basically held Damian Lillard to 4 points in the Bucks' loss to the Memphis Grizzlies. It just has not been pretty. And, I think I briefly said before, Damian Lillard has not really looked comfortable with the Milwaukee Bucks so far in his tenure with them. And my personal opinion is I think he should have just stayed with Portland, despite them not being the best team when they finally traded him away. I just did not think that. I just think Dame is a guy that wanted to be on a team for his entire career. I think he really enjoyed being in Portland. I think despite their struggles, And I also think, it's before he went to Milwaukee, there was a lot of speculation that he was going to go to Miami, right? So I think he just didn't wind up in the place that he really wanted to be. I think he wanted to stay in Portland. It clearly was not working out. He's getting to the later stages of his career. He wants to win. So they wind up trading him to Milwaukee. But this is just rough, because if they can't figure it out, and in a draft like this with Cooper Flagg and Ace Bailey, and the Bucks can't even retain onto their pick, despite having struggles like this and adding a Cooper Flagg or an Ace Bailey to a team with Giannis and Dame, that's a rough go. And, a lot of you guys probably don't remember, but before Giannis, and even with Giannis for the early stages, the Bucks were bad for a long time. They were really bad. Like, they had, Brandon Jennings and Andrew Bogut for a while. They didn't really amount to much. They had Monte Ellis for a while. Didn't really work out super well. They've had a lot of good players over the years, but they have not necessarily had good teams. So the fact that they've had sustained success, it hasn't necessarily equated to a championship every year. They've had sustained success of consistently getting into the playoffs and, winning a championship in 2021. It's impressive. And for me personally, I didn't know when that was going to happen for Milwaukee. For a long time, I was like, Milwaukee used to be, to me, what I thought of, or what a lot of people think of the Detroit Pistons now, right? Or like the Sacramento Kings back, a few years ago. Like, we were like, okay, they're just not a good franchise. They're never going to really make it, yada, yada, whatever, right? But the Bucks are a good franchise. I feel like they're run fairly well. But it just seems like these last 2 seasons, they've just kind of messed it up a little bit. Like, I think getting rid of Adrian Griffin when they were the 3rd best team in the East was a horrible idea. As I've mentioned, continuity for teams is very important, because it's very hard to build chemistry when you don't have the same people there all the time and you're constantly turning over and things like that. It's the same thing with work. Like, if you go to a job and there's a whole staff that's new every 3 months, it's going to be really hard for you to form connections with those people and understand their work style, how to work with them efficiently. It becomes very difficult. It's very taxing for players, in addition to the taxing season that they already have, traveling and playing games, 3-4 times a week, sometimes in back-to-back nights. So it's a lot. So the Bucks really need to get their act together, because if they don't, this is not going to be good. And we're going to be talking about them years down the line being like, oh, they traded their pick, which winded up being Cooper Flagg or Ace Bailey or some other, lottery pick, and it's just not going to be good. So let me know what you guys think. If any of you guys out there are Milwaukee Bucks fans, please let me know what you think in the comments below. How are you feeling about your team this season? I know it's early, so there's plenty of time to turn around, but let me know what's going on. I want to know. I'm here to help. So, and if you did not like the video, give me a dislike. Let me know how you really feel. If you really feel like it, tell me to go myself. That's your right as a viewer. So I'll catch you guys with the next one. Take it easy. Stay safe. Watch some basketball. You know what it is. Peace.